All right, so in order to properly support fat loss while maintaining lean muscle mass, a general rule of thumb for protein is 1 gram per pound of body weight. However, if you want to be more dialed in and specific, there's a specific range that you may want to consider. So your specific range and your needs may vary anywhere between 0.8 all the way up to 1.5 grams of protein per pound body weight. And I want to just go over a few of those conditions, what they are and why. So I'm actually going to dial it back a bit, and for protein, I'm going to talk about the protein range. And this is grams per pound body weight. So first I'm going to talk about 0.50 to 0.7. So this range, if you're at 0.5 to 0.7 grams of protein per pound of body weight, this is really good for sedentary individuals. I can spell. Sedentary individuals. These are people who don't really work out, don't really have any related goals. This is like a solid minimum requirement just for general health and function. So for the average healthy adult that is trying to do some kind of exercise, trying to do something, we want to be in the 0.8 to 1.0. Again, this is for the average healthy adult. Again, this is for somebody who's trying to lose fat, build muscle. This is the minimum recommended range. This is the minimum. So this is the minimum requirement. Now, the next range is going to be in the 1 to 1.2 range. This is pretty good for females. I recommend this range for females, especially women that are looking to get toned, lose fat, boost your performance. And then for males, anywhere in the 1 to 1.5, I recommend this range for males, whose primary goal is to maintain muscle, drop fat. Again, this is the same here for women. So this spectrum is definitely what you want to look at and consider for how much protein you want to take per day. So for our case, right up here, for how many calories our person can have, we have 2970. I'm going to take that based off of our 230-pound male, and I'm going to put him all the way up at 1.5. So for protein, this person is going to need 230 pounds times 1.5 grams of protein per pound body weight, putting them at 345 grams of protein per day. Now, that takes care of protein. Now, what about fat? So for fat, I recommend certain ranges for fat. For fat, I recommend between 0.25 to 0.45 grams of fat per pound body weight. Now, dietary fat is essential to support a reduction in subcutaneous fat, so you can't eat no fat. It's definitely important. Not only is this the most energy dense nutrient, it is important to allow your body to absorb vitamins and minerals, so that's very essential, especially essential to build cell membranes, prevent nerve damage, and enable muscle movement, support blood clotting. So fat's important. However, despite this obvious fact that fat is the most energy dense, you do want to be careful because fat adds up very, very quickly, and it's one of those macros that can really escape you if you're not careful. All of a sudden, like a tablespoon of peanut butter, you can't just keep eating more and more because those macros are going to add up very, very quickly. So just make sure that even if you aren't counting your calories and macros, it is definitely good to have some form of measurement control when it comes to that. So in terms of recommended fat levels, this is what I recommend. So for the ranges, in the range of 0.25 to 0.30 grams of fat per pound body weight, this is definitely the lowest, or even not even lowest, I would say the minimum requirement. This is definitely low fat, very, very low fat. So this is good for those who are like on contest prep, or you're not going to be on this for a very long amount of time. It's good for short-term photo shoot prep, shorter-term physique goals. Dipping below 0.25 grams of fat per pound body weight is definitely going to be difficult to sustain, and it's going to impede your brain function. So don't go lower than 0.25. You will literally lose your mind. The next range that I want to look at is 0.30 to 0.04 grams. In this range, this is moderate. This is reasonable. You will definitely lose body fat in this range. You will achieve contest prep like results, but without losing your mind, without going as low as competitor style diet. It's definitely good. You'll shred at a reasonable rate and all will be well. And then lastly, the last range I want to look at is 0.40 to 0.45 grams of fat per pound body weight. So while faster results are in fact achievable for shredding, I would say this is probably the most conservative and realistic approach. This is great and sustainable for those who are seeking to make a long-term lifestyle change. It's not a race. It's not a sprint. You definitely want to go about this slowly and steadily, and you don't want to rush it. And I also recommend that most people, if you're brand new to this, you start at this level, and then from here reduce and tweak as needed for more dramatic results. So this is the most sustainable. So now, since our case right here, we're taking a 230-pound male. We already calculated our protein. I have him at 345 grams of protein per day. For fat, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the reasonable range because this person, they do want results, they do want to get there, they don't want to wait all day, or they don't want to be taking half of a year or more to get there. So I'm going to use the 0.3 grams of fat per pound body weight for this person. So 230 pounds times 0.3 grams of fat per pound of body weight, and that puts us at 69 grams of fat. Now lastly, we're going to do carbs. Now carbs, most people will do a subtraction. So what does that mean? There are different ranges for carbohydrates that I could discuss, but for the sake of calculating the macros, I'm just going to dig right into the calculation. So for carbs, we're going to do a subtraction. So again, we know we have 2970 total calories per day. So what we want to do is figure out the calories from protein. Calories from protein is 345 times 4. Calories from fat is 69 times 9. We're going to take both of these values, subtract them from our total calories per day, and then what we're going to do is we're going to find that value that's left over from carbs and divide it by 4. So what we have is 345 times 4. That puts us at 1380. 69 times 9 is 621. So if we subtract both of these values from 2970, that leaves us with 969 calories for carbs. And then if we take that divided by 4, divide that by 4, that gives us 242.25 grams of carbs. So again, this person has protein, approximately 345 grams, fat, approximately 69 grams, and carbs, 242 grams. So these are the macros, right? Now that we have our macros for the protein, the fat, and carbs, what we're now going to do is we're going to take those macros and build them into a meal plan for weight loss, for fat loss.